It's Emil Guillermo. We're live. We're live in my broadcast closet with my Benny Agbayani Mets jersey. You know who Benny Agbayani is. It's Filipino American Heritage Month. You know that, right? Benny Agbayani, probably the best position player in MLB history when he played for the Mets. And number 50, he's number 50, not because he was yes on 50, although I don't know, he might be. He might be yes on 50. Hey, it's Emil Guillermo. Welcome to my Takeout, my Emil Amok's Takeout, my takes on all things considerable. We're talking about a lot of things today. First of all, and we have Professor Dan coming up, so you can't just check out the first 30 seconds ago. Professor Dan will be here. First of all, if you were saying, Emil, you had a birthday on the 9th and you didn't have a big party, I'm going to have a big party. I'm just doing it on Filipino time. We're going to do it a month later. November 19th, I'm at the Marsh at 7:30, the San Francisco Marsh, not the Berkeley Marsh, the San Francisco Marsh, near where I grew up on Guerrero and 17th and Church, the Mission, right? There at the 1000 block of Valencia, the Marsh, the coolest black box for solo performance in anywhere, right? I'll be performing my Emil Amok 69. Emil Amok 69, you're going to be performing it? Is it what is like a sex show? No, it's not a sex show. Although you can see it right side up and upside down, right? That's what I like to say. It's a fun show. It's a fun show about life as it exists today. Emil Amok 69. Check it out. If you're watching me, you can go to the Marsh website. There's a link there, themarsh.org, right? themarsh.org/shows _and_events /marsh -rising -Emil -Guillermo. Yeah, that's a long way to go, but it's at themarsh.org. And you can get tickets, come see me, wish me a happy birthday, hear me tell the story. I've told this show, or I've said this show, performed the show throughout the country and in Canada. I'm bringing it here to San Francisco one day only. One day, that's it. November 19th, SF Marsh. So come see it and we can toast. I don't drink very much, hardly at all, but I might do an air toast. In celebration, albeit a little more than a month later. But it's a fun show. It's about being Filipino in these times. I mean, really. Yesterday, I mentioned this on Facebook that Donald Trump, because I'm on his press list. Donald Trump said that, all right, he could have said, hey, Filipino Town in Las Vegas, we're birthing Filipino Town on October 9th in Las Vegas. He could have said something like that, but that's too DEI. And he's so anti-DEI. So what does Donald Trump do? He declares October 9th Leif Erikson Day for all the Nordic Americans out there. So diversity, identity politics, not good if you're brown or Asian or black. Great if you're white. Nordic American Day. He tarnished my birthday, October 9th, calling it Leif Erikson Day. Now, I want to be kind because I met some guy named Life. He pronounced it Life. I forget his last name. He was a comedian. I met him in Canada. Great, funny guy, Life. First Life I've ever met. That's a friend of mine. And so, like I said, not all Lives are bad. Leif Erikson probably isn't a bad guy. But, to declare my birthday, Leif Erikson Day, I feel like, I don't feel good about that. Anyway, but why is it you can be, hell-bent on diversity when it's white, but anti-diversity when it's Filipino or brown or black or anything like that? Cause for concern. Anyway, this is a big diversity weekend, right? Starting with Life Erickson Day, the official Life Erickson Day for white Americans. And then you get the Italians, they get Columbus. And then, of course, the indigenous say, hey, wait, this is our day. We're celebrating Indigenous Day. I'm telling you, we got to work this thing out in America because it's confusing. And I just dropped my glasses here. All right. So where are we? The shutdown is continuing. There's no one's coming back to say, hey, come on back to work. In fact, there are layoffs now. All the news reports are saying, the news reports you respect are saying layoffs have begun. On the federal side, that's bad. I've got friends in the military. They're not being paid. This thing has to end, but it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. So that's a bad thing. Trump's talking tariffs, stock market's down. Trump is mad because he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. He does not deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. You got to be good in all aspects of your life, not just because you got Israel and Qatar to shake hands. You got this ceasefire, but how long is it going to last? And this thing, I mean, they made the decision long before last week. So he might be in line for next year, but I know he said, hey, I want it now. This happened because of my sheer force of will. Anyway, all the Trump apologists are crazy now because they're saying, this is so unfair. This man deserves the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace. It would help if he wasn't cruel in other aspects of his life. It would help if he was peaceful in all aspects of his life. But what he's done in terms of cutting U.S. aid to Africa, what he's done in terms of this, just cutting federal workers, being master of disruption and chaos, being the leader in America's slide toward authoritarianism. Does that call for the Nobel Peace Prize? Oh, you got to call for an emergency. Forget about the January deadline. Just give it to him now. He's created world peace. Well, we don't know. Let's see. Let's see if it sticks. But right now, it ain't Donald Trump. All right. So today I picked up something. All the news has some issues now about how real, how much you can trust the news. In terms of the veracity. With deep fakes and whatnot. And now you have CBS run by conservative tech billionaires who've just installed a very conservative editor, Barry Weiss, as the chief of CBS News. People at CBS are freaking out. People I know who kind of deserve it. But the writing was on the wall when CBS capitulated and gave in to a suit where Trump extorted, $16-17 million from them. Same with ABC. So, Washington Post trying to placate Donald Trump as well. But this story came out of the Washington Post today. The headline, Inside Billionaire Peter Thiel's Private Lectures, Warnings of the Antichrist and U.S. Destruction. The Washington Post reviewed leaked audio from 4 off-the-record lectures the tech investor delivered in San Francisco over the past month that fused beliefs about religion and technology. And this was concerning to me. If you want to be concerned about AI, this is an exclusive story that the Post got, and it's because it was leaked. And things that are leaked are often, that's the best news, because it's something that people don't want you to have. So I thought I'd bring in my buddy, Professor Daniel Phil Gonzalez, College of Ethnic Studies, San Francisco State University, Asian American Studies, Filipino American Studies, Politics, International Relations. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Well, I saw I saw this thing and I said, I want to like read some of this and get Dan's take. I mean, this is our backyard. We live here in Northern California. You specifically right there in the epicenter. Peter Thiel was giving his speeches, his lectures on religion and high tech. And I think if people aren't paying attention to high tech, if they're only paying attention as far as AI replacing jobs, that's like skin deep. You got to go further to see what's going on. So let me read this and then just get your take on what this means. Okay. So here's the headline: Inside Billionaire Peter Thiel's Private Lectures, Warnings of the Antichrist and U.S. Destruction. And these are in lectures he gave most of September at the Commonwealth Club. And here's the lead. Tech billionaire Peter Thiel recently warned that Swedish activist Greta Thunberg and critics of technology or artificial intelligence are legionnaires of the Antichrist in private lectures on Christianity that connected government oversight of Silicon Valley to an apocalyptic future, according to recordings reviewed by the Washington Post. That's quite a lead, but it suggests that Mr. Thiel, tech billionaire, wants all regulation off, let AI run rampant, right? Is that kind of where we're heading with this story, you think?
Oh yeah, you got to look at all of these people from their history, right? Their overall history, and this is yet another immigrant German, and with very strong libertarian inclinations. But people think libertarians are kind of lean left slightly on some issues. Okay, the problem is that they're also small government conservative in orientation. And he's been using his money to invest in what he considers conservative uh, politicians,
Yeah.
conservative
So,
candidates
yeah.
for decades. So well, you got to look at where he's coming from, and
And
so climate change is antithetical to him.
yeah, he's like climate change. What's that, right? So Greta Thunberg, she's the Antichrist. You
That's
know,
right.
she's the person in the way of AI. All right, let me read more because this is Peter Thiel. He seems with these lectures to be going beyond simply, you know, he's going beyond just giving money to candidates. Now he's setting out a kind of ideology, a sense of what this means philosophically, politically. So, second graph. In the four roughly 2 hour lectures, this is a guy lecturing for 8 hours, which began last month and culminated Monday at the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco, which I've been to. I'm sure you've been to in the old and the new
Yeah.
Commonwealth Club. I mean, it's prestigious. I mean, if you have ideas and want something to get out there, you go to the Commonwealth Club. Thiel laid out his religious views to a sold out audience told to keep the contents off the record, according to an event listing. He argued that those who propose limits on technology development not only hinder business, but also threaten to usher in the destruction of the United States and an era of global totalitarian rule, according to the recordings. So this is a guy who says you put limits on technology, and you're the villain.
Yeah, no restrictions, and the danger is, of course, AI getting away, and
Yeah,
that's people who right now that's the attention that's being given to regulation of
yeah,
technology, and it's the development of AI, and so his position is really not wise either from a scientific point of view or a philosophical point of view. It's really
but
rather reckless.
it is in keeping with his corporate, financial,
Sure.
economically
Yeah.
self-serving point of view. I'm going to
Yeah.
make all the money, and we're going to use all this money to deal with all the problems that might come up. In the meantime, you get none of it. I get all of it. Everything's good for me.
Well, I think he's unhappy, it seems, with the outcomes of a lot of his quote political investments.
Hmm.
I've seen that term used
Oh yeah,
in article. Yeah,
yeah,
and so I mean that puts it out there plainly, right? Is in a capitalist society, you as a natural phenomenon, right?
mhm,
uh, Big money means political investment.
right.
It's just another form of investment that's the equivalent of maybe stock market, transactions, and
Yeah,
that's how they see it.
but it means that whatever I want is good, and that should go.
Yes.
And that if I put the money in, I got to get my return, no matter what. And I know what's best for not just me, but for everyone.
Well, it shows the frustration with the political process, which is understandable given the standoff, the kind
Mm,
of intransigence that
mm,
has taken over
yeah.
Washington D.C. That's right,
Gridlock.
in the last
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired of the use of the term gridlock because it reduces everything to like a traffic, you know,
Metaphor.
typical traffic metaphor, and we face gridlock every freaking day.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Too
you know,
many people. We can't move. We're intransigent. Nothing's moving. Right.
too
And
many people who can't drive any that drive worse than Waymo. So
that is the thing. Can you be worse than Waymo? Wow. That should.
My question is actually the adverse.
Yeah.
Can be as good as Waymo?
Can you be as good as Waymo? Then you would be nothing, right? You would be because if you were worse than Waymo, then you exist. We can see you. But if you're good, we can't. You're invisible. Oh well. Okay. All right. Look. Here's the next graph. In the 17th, 18th century, this is Thiel. In the 17th, 18th century, the Antichrist would have been a Dr. Strangelove, a scientist who did all this sort of evil, crazy science, Thiel said in his September 15th opening talk, according to the recordings. In the 21st century, the Antichrist is a Luddite who wants to stop all science. It's someone like Greta or Eliezer, referring to Thunberg and Eliezer Yudkowsky, a prominent critic of the tech industry's approach to AI. Well, just there he lays it out. You're
Yeah.
you're you're for climate change or for climate control. You're pro Greta. You're the Antichrist. If you're for slowing down on AI, you're the Antichrist. Like Eliezer, you're the Antichrist because hey, we should be riding high. We should be going crazy. We should be the Doctor Strangeloves.
Like I
That
said,
sounds reckless, though.
he's reckless. That's what I said. I mean, what else can we say?
Yeah.
And the his he can. The danger is he can easily transfer his reckless notions to
Mhm.
the political process in a very successful way. What I'm worried about right now is that if he's frustrated with the political process and his investment outcomes haven't worked the way that he wanted, his frustration means it doesn't happen fast enough,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't happen fast enough. So what is he going to do that moves his agenda into reality faster? Okay.
Now we're talking about the things that really butt up to democracy, the things that really butt up to
There it
uh,
is.
the
You don't
norms.
need, when they say libertarian, what he means is really what he's talking about is no government.
No
No
government. Yeah.
government. This
Well,
is
I mean,
this is beyond anarchy, right? This is
yeah.
beyond anarchy. You know?
Well, it's like everyone has their own little fiefdom. If you have money, you can
There it
afford
is.
a fee. You can afford a
There it is.
fiefdom. Well, we don't need a united government. We don't need government. We don't need small government. We need. I mean, there really are for no government, which is uh, kind
Yeah,
of chaotic and reckless unless
right?
you have the
Government's a
money.
restriction. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the money for your own private army,
Well,
which
see, government. Uh-oh.
there you are. We lost our connection there briefly.
Yeah, government at its best, right, is supposed to be for if you think about democracy as government at its best being for common cause, the best interests of all of the people, even though there's conflict among the people on what's good for them. right? Both
Mhm.
at an individual level as well as the level of political beings. That's people acting in concert for what they believe is a common good, their interest, you know, in association with communities and society around them. Right now,
Yeah.
right now, American society doesn't have that. That's part of the
No.
problem.
Yeah.
There's a small minority of people that understand how to act in the manner that's consistent with achieving the best possible results for the common good. They know that that involves a lot of compromise and all the rest. What we have now is a lot of lack of compromise, and in fact, a great criticism of that your concern for the other is really a sign of weakness. What you got to be doing
Right.
is dealing with what's best for you and joining up with people that think in similar ways, okay, and then defeating the other side. So it's not a question of compromise, and it's not even a question of advocacy. It's a
Right.
question of stopping everybody else that's oppositional, right? Stopping them and enforcing your own way.
And if we're going to look at it in metaphorical terms as a poker match, because if you've played poker, the guy who goes all in, the guy with the biggest stack can bully and
Yep,
push you all
yep,
in, and if
yep,
unless you can match it, you got to fold, right?
yep,
The guy who pushes all in, you can't, you don't have the money, or you push all in, but you don't have nearly the stack the other guy has. You just push in all you got, you lose, you're out of the game.
yep,
And that's how you get bullied in poker. And now the bullies with all the money are trying to bully their way into the AI world, saying, ain't so bad. You know, all these people in the way, they're the Antichrist. But but here's what I think. Let's go back to the article. This is from the exclusive article, Washington Post, released today. Thiel's lectures come at a time of rising Christian nationalism in the United States. Christians have varying interpretations of the biblical Antichrist, but the figure is often understood to be an opponent of God who appears during the end times. And this is when people should, their ears should prick up when they hear someone like Thiel, who uses his money in politics, starts using the Antichrist image in terms of government, because as the Post points out, he's taking America, or is veering America toward this Christian nationalism, which
yeah,
is usually not very good for poor people, people of color, people who aren't white. And the Post sent Thiel a detailed list of questions, and Thiel hasn't responded, because none of this should have been let out, because they were like off the record lectures. But now that we know, should America be scared that this is the guy who's one of the chief financiers behind not just Trump, but JD Vance?
sure. And JD Vance is licking his chops. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the president has chankles, which is or cankles rather, which is
Kinkles.
he's got those fat ankles, and people are starting to notice that he's faltering.
Yeah.
And when he does falter, and news coverage goes in that direction, questioning about his health, his mental capacity, okay,
Mhm.
uh, Vance is quick,
Yeah.
to seize the opportunity to
Yeah.
get some airtime.
I'm
And
here. I'm here. Yeah.
oh yeah, and that's
Yeah.
and he's trying to out Hegseth
Well,
in a lot of ways.
it does seem to be like a competition, especially when Trump has those board meetings or those cabinet
Oh
meetings,
man,
which
oh
no
yeah.
one has ever done. No one has ever had those meetings. And
I
as
have to, if I'm going to watch that stuff, even
Mhm.
whether it's live or I have it recorded, right?
Mhm.
If I know I'm going to watch it, I make sure that I do so on an empty stomach,
Oh yeah, yeah,
because by the time you get to the third statement, with brown nosing going on,
yeah.
uh,
Brown, yeah.
you want to hurl. You just want
Yeah.
to hurl.
Brown nose, boot lick, whatever, ultra genuflecting, whatever metaphor you want to use. It is a sad show of
Yeah,
backbone and
God.
spine. There's no spine. There's no
Well,
spine in
what I
Donald
get,
Trump.
what I think is fun is that when they start doing that, and I feel like I'm going to hurl.
Yeah.
I watch Trump's reaction, and
Hmm.
he actually has an honest kind of expression of false. It's honest, but it's false.
Hmm.
It's honest from an emotional point of view. He tries to be. How would he tries to say, no, no, you need to be so over complimentary towards me.
Yeah.
It, he tries to he sees himself as being humble, and that's fun. That it's
Yeah.
fun trying to when he
Well,
tries to communicate humility.
everyone. This is the thing. This is the example to America. To if you want to be in the good graces of Trump, this is how you act toward him, right? It's as South Park called it, a sycophancy that is a sickness in that Donald Trump is exposing to America. That if you want to play his game, that's how you play it, and it's sad. Let's go back to the Thiel article. Silicon Valley leaders have escalated their fight against regulating AI since Donald Trump's inauguration. Thiel has close ties to administration officials. Okay. Thiel said in his third lecture on September 29th that only a religious argument could inspire the proper response to the threat of a growing web of global rules, according to the recording. This guy wants AI to
Yeah,
flourish unheeded, unstopped or uncompromised by laws. Here's a quote: "There are a lot of rational reasons I can give why the one world state's a bad idea. Turn the planet into a prison. I think the tax rates would be very high," he said, according to the recording. But I think if you stop it from the biblical content, or if you, but I think if you strip it from the biblical context, you'll never find it scary enough. You will never really resist. So, one more. The billionaire's lectures were also notable as a forceful display of religiosity in an industry that historically been secular. Tech has always been kind of secular. Government, certainly secular. Christianity has recently become a significant presence in some influential tech circles, in part because of Acts 17 Collective. Acts, yeah, sound like the biblical reference. A nonprofit dedicated to spreading Christian principles inside the tech industry that organize the Thiel lectures. So Act 17, and there's it's an acronym, Act 17. It stands for something like it says in the article, Act 17. The Christian nonprofit that organized Thiel's talks is an acronym for Acknowledging Christ Within Technology and Society. It refers to the New Testament book of Acts, in which the Apostle Paul travels to Athens, where he debates the Christian gospel with philosophers. So there you have it. You were a Jesuit student, Acts 17. Now we have it in tech. Is that a good thing? I mean, shouldn't we see the separation of church and state and the separation of church and tech?
well, the separation of church and state was somewhat wishful thinking because it's never really been true in American
Right,
society that
right.
that Christian sects and their particular philosophies have always been a part of American political culture.
Mm-hmm.
So we grew up hearing the phrase uh, Protestant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Notion of hard work, right?
Right,
The Protestant ethic is what it's called.
right.
And so once if that's a part, if that concept is a part of American culture, then obviously it's a part of American political culture as well. Okay, the notion is, I remember the Jesuits would criticize that perspective by saying That means that you should accumulate as much wealth as possible in this life because you can't take it with you into the next one.
Right. Right.
So,
But
so it's a rationale for greed.
right. It is a rationale. And when you're good, God is looking down on you, favorably. When you're doing poorly, God is damning you. Or you've been defeated by the Antichrist. That's the way Peter Thiel looks at it.
Well, there's an assumption that the afterlife is not material. Okay, it's amaterial, and so
Oh,
your access to this life is material. So this is where you ought to put a lot of your energy, man. Just accumulate
yeah.
that money, you know.
and
Can't
then you die. They can't take it with you, and then
take it with
you're
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this the kind of message that Americans? I
Well,
guess some Americans
that's
want to hear
that's
it.
the Christian nationalist method.
Yeah.
It's not very Christian, is it?
No, well, I mean, we see it's not very Christian by how they deal with people who are not white or not rich or not wealthy. I mean, we
Well,
see their actions
how many
there.
times did Jesus make reference to taking care of those who have less, taking care
Hey,
of those in need?
hey,
And then there's also casting the money lenders, you know, uh, uh, and
well,
and the merchants out of the temple. Right?
and
And that was
also,
one of that he was violent. He was actually
yeah.
physically violent, right?
Well, how about, and let's not forget the phrase that is constantly repeated in the, I mean, the Catholics are not very biblically based in terms of like they don't hold the scripture and say, here it is, I got it, chapter and verse. But they pull out selective lines. But this is one line that is always repeated, and that is the first will be last, the last will be first.
Right.
And based on that phrase, Peter Thiel isn't sounding very Christian.
Never has.
Yeah. All
Never
right.
has.
So people ought to check out the Washington Post exclusive. Actually, I read it because a lot of people are wondering where the news uh, industry is going. They got CBS being bought out by conservatives, being run by a conservative editor. Are they going to be Fox Light now or Fox News Junior? Uh, Washington Post, because they're in Washington, they want to appease Donald Trump, so they're not. Some people have left the Post,
Yeah, a
but
lot of
this
people.
isn't. A lot of
They're
people
older.
have left the
They're,
Post. Yeah,
they're generational. It's a generational thing. So a lot of the people who, for example, were critics of Richard Nixon and who wrote stuff during that period,
they're
uh,
gone.
they're gone, and
Yeah,
they left voluntarily.
yeah.
And that's been happening over even before.
Before Biden.
Yeah, even before he took office. He
Yeah,
took office in January.
yeah.
There were people who were leaving last year just because they could see the writing on the wall, and they were upset about the fact that their papers were accepting a lot of editorial commentary that was afactual,
Yeah,
ahistorical, and a lot of the really tried and true, Woodward and
yeah.
you know all those guys, they dote. I mean, saying doting, is like a weak statement. Their commitment, right, to factual research,
Hmm.
uh, to what a lot of us might make the mistake of considering minutia, right?
Hmm.
They test all of that. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's a source of their pride, and it shows you what the meaning of journalism really is.
Well,
That's
yeah.
journalism.
Well, here's the problem. Also, when you're facing, budget constraints and income is going down and the money's not there, uh, there's shortcuts. And the shortcut in journalism is okay, you can present fact, but you can also present information which is factually based, but maybe more opinion. So now you have the realm of opinion, and opinion is cheap, right? Talk is cheap, but there's informed opinion, and then there's people just ranting. I like to think we're somewhat in the middle. We're not just ranting, but we're informed opinion, and we're talking about things from a perspective that isn't often seen or heard, and that's important. I just think that in terms of the journalism with the capital J, places like the Post and the Times, they kind of are they're the paragons of that, or were. I know
Yeah,
maybe
I was going to
more so.
say were.
Yeah, maybe more so than the Times
Yeah,
and the Post. But here's the thing: in the era of deep fakes, in the era of you can't always believe what you see, uh, I mistrust almost 80% of what I read, what I see coming over the web, unless I
right.
know it's coming directly from
Well,
a
then what do
news
you
source.
test? What do you test it against, or what do you test it with?
Well, I think what you do to guard against it is you always attribute where you got it. Hey, I got this from the Times. I got this from the Post. I got this, then you'll know if you were led astray. I mean, because I'm not saying that the Times is infallible. We know historically the Times has not been perfect. I mean, all you have to do is mention the Wenho Lee case, 25 years ago. You know
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
they're
But
not
that's
they're not perfect. So
okay. That was a generational experience for us.
oh
Okay,
yeah,
so in order for that to have impact on people, one, they have to know what
you have to
happened.
know when
Okay,
Lee. Yeah.
that's
Well,
right.
yeah, no, I know, but also here's the thing. Uh, we're also talking about a time when newspapers had importance and journalism through the news, print journalism had meaning, and now it's all opinion on the web. It's podcasts, it's TikToks, it's you know,
Instagram,
thing, yeah, Instagram. It's all these other things, and where people get their news sometimes they just have to trust, well, my leader said it, so it must be true. Or the person I believe did it, so it must be true. And if that person you believe is Donald Trump, then everything he says out of his mouth, right,
yeah.
must be true. Um,
Well,
that's a sad state.
they're colliding right now with reality because of what's happening in Congress and the fact that the Republicans don't want to go back into session and they
Yeah,
keep blaming it on the Democrats. It's getting really hot, and I don't like the way that the direction of the conflict is going. The emotion, excessive emotional displays.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
all of a sudden,
emotional.
All of a
Yeah,
sudden, Marjorie Taylor Greene looks rational.
yeah. Well, it's all personal, right? It's all personal, and it is funny that debate is not what it used to be. I mean, everything has got to get into that that hot take personal attack, and that's what people want to see. They don't
Well,
want to see.
did you watch any of Pam Bondi's
Oh yeah,
response
I
to
saw it.
questions?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
you know
If only you loved Illinois as much as you hated President Trump,
she
what
had
you
a
said,
she had a
what you said
list
to Durbin.
she had a list, a prepared list,
Yeah,
okay, of things to attack the Democratic senators with
right.
personally,
Personal
personal.
peccadillo, personal
Yes,
peccadillos. What
that's right.
about your wife who did this? And what about this time you took money from this guy? And what do you
Yeah,
Reed Hoffman's name, the LinkedIn guy, came up a lot. What if you
yeah.
did this? And it's totally irrelevant. But if you're just listening to it and you say, well, and you're like,
Well, it's
uh,
a kind of what a prosecutor does
yeah,
right before a judge warns them
yeah,
that if they continue with that they're going to get kicked out of court.
right,
She
right,
was
right,
she was getting away with it. She was doing that. She's a former prosecutor. She knows it, and that's how she
yeah.
decided she was going to handle her appearance before the Senate.
Well, I don't think it was effective, but I think we're in this polarized world where Pam Bondi's with Trump. I like Trump, so I believe her. Pam Bondi's against Trump or is for Trump. I hate Trump. She's a piece of
Yeah, I
crap.
think you're right. I think
That's
you're
the
right.
world.
I think you're
That
right. I
yeah,
agree with that.
that's
You know?
how everyone assesses things, and no one is willing to really talk about. No one's willing to have the debate. All right, so we move to. We're not going to call end the shutdown. They're not coming back till next week. But let's talk briefly about the Saudi Arabia comedy festival, the Riyadh Comedy Festival, because people, I do some occasional stand up comedy. It's a talk there. Can or should comedians, it ended yesterday, the 9th, but should comedians have gone to appear in Saudi Arabia? The big guns who went there are justifying, saying, yeah, Dave Chappelle went so far as to say, there's more free speech in Saudi Arabia than the United States. I doubt that. That's not true. But,
Nah.
it's sort of funny, but it's not true. What do you think?
Well,
And then
was he
I'll tell you
saying that
mine.
tongue in cheek? What is he saying that tongue in cheek or what?
I don't think he was saying it tongue in cheek. I think he was saying, look, I'm here. I can say what I want. And as Chappelle will attest, uh, he gets in trouble for saying jokes about trans people. He's been attacked for, I mean, some people are beyond cancelable, but, you know, in my career, I'm Filipino, so I guess I'm beyond cancelable too. I come pre-canceled. I am pre-canceled. I come pre-ignored. They can cancel me all they want. But my feeling is this: look, if you wanted to go there, you go there, but then shut up. And if you get challenged, I mean, because some people aren't being challenged. Like no one's challenging Kevin Hart. No one's
Yeah,
challenging Wayne Brady. Why'd you go there, Wayne Brady? You know, no one's challenging the black guys, but no one's challenging Louis C.K. who went there. But they go after Bill Burr because Bill Burr was seen as he's kind of liberal, but Bill Burr is just he's a white guy, and excuse me, I guess his reaction was surprising because he was trying to say, look, there are regular people there, which is I don't know.
yeah.
I see.
That's my question. Right when I heard that they were planning it, was
Yeah.
who's the audience?
Yeah, it's
Who's
it's
the
regular
audience?
people. Yeah, it's not just the VIPs, the sheikhs, but they're there. The sheikhs are there too, and it's the sheikhs' money, right?
Yeah. So
Sheikhs' money.
yeah, I didn't understand what they were doing. I really didn't. Yeah, it's a Sheikh's money. I know it was. I guess it's their comedic version of Thriller in Manila or something.
Well, the thing is, I have a different view now that I do some comedy and I do some stand up. Well, and as a journalist, I always have had this absolutist view of the First Amendment. I think you should say whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, but be ready for the debate because there will be debate. There will be people coming at you saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." And then you should welcome those comments and you should address them. And if you don't like them, then you're not for free speech. You should, I think you should be willing to address the coming rhetorical fight that will come if you do something like that. And if you're not willing to do that, then don't go.
Yeah, uh, you know, I'm fine with addressing criticisms, but what I have trouble with is when people come at you with really simplistic
Mhm.
POV. Their point of view is so simple that it doesn't even stimulate, in my opinion, uh, uh, a careful response. A well formed response. And
Mhm.
so instead, and especially when people come at you with kind of uh, a sarcastic manner, right? Then
Right.
then your instant reaction, and I'm wearing my sarcasm shirt today, right?
Ah, yeah, I
The
see that. Yeah.
your reaction is going to be likely sarcastic, and you tend to return, and I just really don't like that. I would like to be able to get into the thing is it takes time. It takes time and effort to have intelligent discussions that are
Oh
likely
yeah.
to lead, right, to a
Yeah.
betterment of the discussion rather than
and,
simply being combative.
and no one wants to do that. No one really wants to do
It
that.
doesn't seem
But
like it. Somebody
yeah, but
wants to win all the time.
yeah, they should have, if they want discussion, they should go and then have discussion. Now, here's the thing about, I saw Aziz Ansari, who was there. Joe Coy, incidentally, he was also there. He's getting no flack. No one cares. Joe Coy can do whatever he wants. That's too bad because he's Filipino. But, I know Aziz Ansari came on, I think he was on the Kimmel show, and he said, look, um, I know that it's pretty bad there, but if we can move things in the right direction, maybe that's a positive, and maybe that could lead to a breakthrough at some point. In the meantime, give me $1.7 million. It's like, yeah, I think, I mean, he has a point, but also he's getting paid well. Excuse me. It's all about the money, right? It's all about, he got paid. What's your price? Do you want to sell out? You can sell out, but you can also talk about it. Oh, here's one. The latest thing that's happening is people who sold out, got the money, said, I'm going to donate this money to charity. Some people, Human Rights Watch says, we're not accepting that money. Sorry, we're not accepting the money.
Wow.
And that's how deep it's going. So maybe that gets back to the original question: why go in the first place? Is this really going to foster better relations or push the ball down the field so we get to a positive change, or is it just another match into the bushes to set fire? And I'd like to talk about it because I think it's important, because first of all, it's it really is your own personal decision as a comedian. The government isn't saying don't, First Amendment right. The U.S. government is saying what you can or can't do. Of course, the Saudi government is saying what you can or can't do. That's censorship, and that's kind of the compromise that people played. It's there. They can't say boo to the sheikh.
Do you think these guys reflected on Jamal Khashoggi?
I think people have forgotten about Jamal Khashoggi.
Well,
I mean, it's sad because
if you had gotten invited, would you have reflected on Jamal Khashoggi?
Oh, I would have reflected on Jamal Khashoggi, but I would have also been kicked out of Saudi Arabia. I did tell a joke on the night of the Filipino comedy festival. I told a joke about that, and they said, I guess they hired the best comedians because killers want killers when they see comedy.
Ooh,
and killers want the killers.
Yahoo!
And then I mentioned Jamal Khashoggi, and some people got it, but most people, they just know in general. Washington Post columnist killed. I don't think, some people here have taken that and said, well, look at all the American columnists or American journalists who've been killed. And they point to Gary Webb, and they point to, I don't know if he was killed, that could be a conspiracy thing. A lot of things contribute to Gary Webb's death. I think Gary Webb was a good reporter. He shouldn't have been killed. I don't know who killed him, but did the CIA kill Gary Webb? I haven't followed up on that case, but he was silenced, and I don't know who did it.
Okay.
But someone pointed out Gary Webb says, hey, the U.S. has done the same. I don't know if the U.S. has done the same thing, but this is the kind of.
Well, what does that mean, though? So what? Okay, let's say the U.S. did the same thing. So how does that make it okay to participate in the comedy event, right? Okay, if you understand that MBS killed or was
implicated,
to the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. See, that's not cool. That's not cool. If you accept that relationship happened, right? Yeah. And if you accept that he was killed by Saudis, okay, then why would you want to participate in that process? You know?
Well, I mean that's what makes it simple. But now I want to understand it from the perspective of my First Amendment friends. And yeah, you want to say what you want, go ahead, say what you want. But you know what? You're not really saying what you want in Saudi Arabia. When you're signing something, you says, "I will not criticize the government. I will not do this. I will not do that." You're doing the clean side of your act, and it's almost like that should be a sign to say, "Don't do it. Not worth it." But the real thing is that people, they got a price in their head. They found the price. They did it anyway. People in comedy are still talking about this, and the latest, like I said, is one charity, Human Rights Watch, said we're not taking any money.
Yeah, I think that's
Feel good.
obviously the principal position. That's
Yeah.
obviously the principal position.
Principle. Where are our principles? Where are our principles?
Oh no,
We want principles.
not
want-
that. Well, that was one of the things that we got from the Jesuits that was reinforced by the Jesuits. All of us good Catholic boys.
Yeah, that's because you didn't go to Riverdale High and have Mr. Weatherby. Oh, see, now that's old school. Doing an Archie Comics reference. An Archie Comics. All right, hey, look, another topic. Couple topics. This lawfare thing, where Donald Trump says to Pam Bondi, "Hey, you're not going after Comey. You're not going after Letitia James." He said this about 10 days ago, and now 10 days happens. Pam Bondi doesn't do it, but she sicks some junior to go after and indict Letitia James and James Comey, and now we get.
Well, yeah, one of the.
I mean, they're bad cases. They're bad cases, but Trump
this morning I heard that Bondi was supposedly surprised
that
by the indictment, because not the Comey indictment, but the Letitia James indictment, and so they're saying, well, if she was surprised by it, then where did the pressure or the direction to file the indictment, come from? And obviously, there's a direct relationship once again. Now, this is not a big deal for me because I already believe that they were acting under the direction of Trump directly. So, so the destruction, once again, is in the tradition, right, of independence, that is supposedly a marker of the Department of Justice, that it's supposed to act independently. And so there's this curious relationship. The DOJ is within the purview, right, of the executive offices. It's the executive branch. It's within the executive branch. The reason it's there is because it's the executive branch that has the constitutional obligation to enforce the law. Okay, so there's a policing aspect, right? Enforcement of the law in the executive offices, the executive branch. And then at the same time, you don't want the executive branch to be able to direct, right?
Especially without being checked, without any checks from any other branch of government. You're not supposed to have an executive branch. I mean, the Justice Department is really there representing the people, not the president. It's not the president's private firm.
When they transgress, you're supposed to have two other branches to check on the president.
Right. And
we don't have that.
That's not happening.
We don't have that.
So we really do have a de facto autocracy.
Yes.
It is. I mean,
months ago you asked, "Are we fascist yet?" and my response was, "It depends on what part of the population you are." Okay, because for large segments of the American population, it's been fascist for a long time, because they've been treated by the injustice system, as though we are already an autocratic, anarchical kind of society, and so when you can't afford a private counsel, then you are going to get, if you and you're facing criminal charges, right?
Mhm.
You're going to at best get a public defender, and the public defenders are even more overworked than the prosecutors, than the district attorneys, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really ridiculous. I
Well,
mean, a
well,
lot
this
of the
is the
people
thing.
that I went to school with and that were practicing attorneys were public defenders, and some of them did it for an entire lifetime. Their
Yeah.
entire lifetime of
Yeah.
practicing law was as public defenders.
Yeah, but this is the thing when you see this kind of situation where you can't get justice. I mean, first of all, your faith in the system diminishes. Your faith and trust in everything governmental diminishes. You don't want to be part of it. You want to run away. You want to just do your life and not be bothered. And this is how Donald Trump steals your democracy. This is how Donald Trump steals your freedom by
Yeah.
making all this chaotic stuff normal, and people just want to like throw up their hands and say, "That's it. I don't want anything to do with this." And they say, "Oh, I don't vote. I don't do this. I don't believe in democracy." And you try to tell people, "Hey, wait, this is our country. Isn't it worth fighting for?" And
Yes, they
yeah.
can't be bothered with it. They can't be bothered with it. You know.
And this is the depressing thing, I think. The depressing thing. Anyway,
Well,
all right. So
all
we're
right.
not. There's another one of those problems we're not going to solve. Hey, a couple things. Uh, Saturday tomorrow, uh, Fonz 101. Saturday at 11 o'clock. If you're interested in attending this Zoom session, Filipino American Heritage Month, go to that thing I've got on the screen. It's a forums doc on Google and register and join 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. I'm leading a Fonz 101 thing talking about the state of Filipino America post 1965. I tell it through my story, but this is I mean we're getting into the meat of Filipino American History Month, and it's as opposed to Spanish American or Spanish. What is it? It's Spanish Heritage Month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hispanic and Latino.
Hispanic and Latino.
I don't know what For me,
I
that's
mean,
kind of redundant.
they get the first 15 days, and we really get the whole month, but we don't really talk about it till they're like around the 15th.
Yeah.
But it's Filipino American Heritage Month too. But and as I said at the beginning, it's confused by Donald Trump puts out a thing from his White House uh, in a press office. Hey, October 9th, it's Leif Erikson Day,
Yeah.
Nordic American Day.
Well, I hate
Hey,
to bust his bubble. I hate to bust his bubble,
yeah.
but there's some DNA evidence
Mm.
that Leif, okay, was one that he was part Jewish and that he was
Ooh.
also part Nigerian.
So
So
Leifberg, the
we
soul brother.
he needs to, if he's going to be complaint, okay, and he doesn't want to be DEI, he just wants to be factual, right?
Yeah.
Leif was not pure.
So he was part Nigerian.
Sure,
Really?
yes, yes.
And
There is now, of course, the people who are presenting us with that evidence
Mhm.
also, spend a lot of time at Area 51.
Well, I'm just saying
So
that.
you got to take it with a grain of salt, but at the
Yeah.
same time, okay, uh, a lot of African people were far more traveled than history gives them credit for.
Well, they were used to being on boats. Some with chains, some without chains.
Whoa, that
Ooh,
hurt.
ooh.
That
Well,
hurt.
I mean, the thing is that I'm just saying that it's good to know that Leif Erikson might have been more diverse than Donald Trump lets on. But he, in his press conference or his press release, was really harping on the fact that Leif Erikson, oh, Nordic Americans, yeah, because as we've talked about this, uh, white diversity good, people of color diversity bad. White
Well, when
DEI good.
yeah, when we move socially and politically on an issue, it's identity politics.
Yeah.
But when white people are doing it all the time, right,
Yeah.
it's just politics.
It's politics. Yeah.
It's just politics, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you talking
Yeah.
about identity? What are you
Yeah.
talking? There is no such thing as white identity, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Or
not.
we just
There's no
are.
such thing as white privilege, right?
We just are.
We just, yeah. When you talking about white supremacy, we don't have to assert that. It's just
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just standard. It's the norm.
I
It's the
mean,
norm.
you people are inferior. It's that you just accept it.
Yeah.
You know,
It's the norm. And that's right. Yeah.
No, we have to adhere to a male standard. So that
Oh yeah, the male.
a white male standard. Hegseth has said it. We don't want fat generals and admirals.
We don't want beardos. No beardos.
No beardos.
No beardos. Thank goodness. It takes me
The only people that can do beards are special
Mm.
forces, right?
Special forces. Yeah.
We're going to let SEALs can do beards, right? I don't know if 82nd Airborne, 101st Airborne, that's too big a group, right? They're not
Yeah.
they're not all special forces, right? So
all right. So
maybe the Rangers get to grow beards.
the Ranger. Hey, let's switch topics to the Nobel. Trump
Oh,
didn't win.
no.
He didn't.
Well,
Sorry, and now he sent out his Asian American attack dog to say, hey, Donald Trump,
the Berkeley butthead,
Stephen Chung.
Yeah, didn't he come out of UC? Yeah.
Well, now he came out of wrestling. He was a wrestling promoter. He was. But he said, Donald Trump through sheer force of will. I mean, this is a special man. Donald Trump doesn't deserve a Nobel. Not when he is disruptive on all the other aspects of American society. That's not Nobel worthy. I'm not saying that the Nobel has to, but also you can't like lobby yourself to win the Nobel. I mean, Obama, when he won the Nobel, was sort of like a surprise. They didn't know it was happening. Those are the
even he didn't know why he was getting it.
Right. I mean, the best prizes are the ones that someone just hands you and say, "Hey, congratulations."
Well, what was the rationale? He had only been in office for about 5 minutes.
I don't know what he did something. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know what, but Obama is the reason why Trump wants the Nobel so badly.
Absolutely.
Because if Obama gets one, I should get one. No, that's not the way it works. Hey, go back to Fonz 101. So people should, if they're Filipino and want to hear about the Filipino story, September 11th, Fonz 101. Go to that Zoom on the Google Forums. At 1 to 3, I'm on, and I'll be talking and leading a group talking about that. But that's worth it. I think Dave Chappelle's kid was at one Fonz 101 one year because his kid is half Filipino. So that's cool. All right. So that's Fonz 101. We mentioned that. And then we also talk about Ishmael Reed. My buddy has a new play called The Amanuensis. You know what amanuensis means?
No.
It means a stenographer, dictator, someone who takes down dictation.
Oh, okay.
He wrote this play.
Wow.
It's a phrase that H.L. Mencken used to describe Joel Chandler Harris, who wrote Song of the South. Because he claimed that Joel Chandler Harris really just ripped off some slave stories and passed them off as his own. So Ishmael has taken that fact and has Uncle Remus and Brer Rabbit and Sister Fox and all the characters of Song of the South talking about how they're going to get money from Joel Chandler Harris. All that, all the Song of the South money that didn't go into the slaves' pockets, but went into Joel Chandler Harris's pockets. So that's the premise of this play. It's a staged reading at Theater 33, at 533 Sutter, second floor in San Francisco. Check it out, theater33.com for tickets. It's October 18th, 19th, October 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. And I have a small role.
Amanuensis.
Amanuensis.
Wow, I learned something absolutely vocabulary new to me. So I feel lesser now because
Oh well, no, let your self-esteem build up in the final couple of minutes of the program. But yeah, all right. So
that's great. That's great.
yeah,
I love it. But does he take on the issue of the Disney productions
of
of
course,
all of the animations? Yeah, all of the animations, right?
he takes on. In fact, Walt Disney has a small role in the play
Okay.
and appears at the beginning, talking about why hey, what is it? All these people are after me about the what I did for Joel Chandler Harris, and
Well,
but
is Mickey
this
Mouse black?
well, I mean this is this is the slave's perspective. This is the slave saying, "Hey, we want our money," and I'm there to try to help them get their money. So, not exactly reparations, but Joel Chandler Harris made a couple 100,000, in today's dollars for Song of the South, Brer Rabbit. These are stories that were really African tales.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, the amanuensis, October 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th.
Thirty to
Um,
three, 30 or 33.
yeah, theater33.com. It's in San Francisco. So go see it. Go get your tickets there. All right. And then, so we talk about Fonz 101. Uh, and then my show, Emil Amok, live at the San Francisco Marsh, November 19th, 7:30 p.m. I'm going to have my big birthday party there. I mean, I'm just saying that if people say, well, you had your birthday on the 9th and you're not going to have a party. I said, no, I'm not going to have a party, but you can come and see me do my show on November 19th, a month later, more than a month later. It's like Filipino time. You understand that. And come see me, and then it'll be fun. You can see me, shake my hand, and say, oh, Emil's telling jokes. Emil's making some points about life.
There's
Life
there's a
in
couple, there's a good bar down the street.
Yeah, yeah. So come on down, November 19th, 7:30. We'll be out by 8:40, 9 o'clock. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Get your tickets at themarsh.org. It's the SF Marsh on Valencia Street. All right. So, Dan, a final thing, and I think we ought to talk about, um, uh, you know, should we talk about
Did we
where?
mention November 5th?
We should talk. Yeah, November 5th. You see, I'm standing next to 50. This is Benny Agbayani's jersey, Met jersey. He played for the New York Mets. He's Filipino, full Filipino. And but it's not a yes on 50 or no on 50. He's just his number is 50. But big election coming up November 4th, and as it happens, we're going to do a talk podcast sort of like this at the San Francisco Public Library. And go to San Francisco
Yep.
Public Library and put down Emil Amok or
Yep.
Emil. And then Dan and I will talk about the election. We'll talk about Filipino American history. We'll talk about Veterans Day. We'll talk about all sorts of things. November 5th at the Public Library. I don't have it up here on my screen, so I can't show it yet. I was going to bring that up. But yes, Dan, I want to bring that up because Dan will be there and you'll see us, sort of live doing what we do here. And it should be fun. November 5th at the San Francisco Public Library, the main library. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Should be fun. Should be fun.
Okie dokie.
All right, one last thing. One last thing. I guess you know I don't want to talk about are we in I don't know. I just feel kind of people go into this long weekend. They're sort of saying, "Oh, I forgot it was even a long weekend." But we're going to come out of it Indigenous Day, Columbus Day, Italian American Day. I mean, the holiday's diverse, and yeah, then we're coming out. We're coming out of Life Erickson Day. Do you say leaf or life?
I always said leaf, but
Leaf. I
life
always said
is
leaf
good.
too.
If he
But
says life,
I met a
it's
guy.
the guy's name. If it's his name,
Yeah, a friend of mine said, "Hey, I'm Life." Oh, hi, Life. He's a Canadian though, so I know. So I just go into this weekend feeling kind of not good about where we are as a country.
that's that's kind of an understatement.
Well, yeah, but because
Yeah,
I want to be
I've had
positive.
conversations with a lot of people who are very political and who have held staff positions
Yeah,
in support of people who had effective careers
yeah.
as members of the state legislature. Okay, and one person actually was when Rob Bonta was in the assembly,
Yeah.
uh, and he still keeps a very close relationship with Mr. Bonta.
Mm,
And so I call on these folks that have done those things. Some of them have also been journalists.
yeah.
They've been staffers and they've been journalists, and they are really in a bad place. I ask a very simple question, and that is: do the Democrats have what it takes to even
Hmm.
effectively address any portion of the damage that's already been done these last several
Mm,
months, right? In less than
yeah.
a year. And
Yeah.
they all feel that no, it can't be done just by one election. It can't be done even if they sweep and they have the presidency and two houses of Congress because
Yeah.
there's SCOTUS. There is SCOTUS. And so they
So
have the same perspective that I do.
we are going. This is a generational thing. I mean, you know, when Brown versus Board of Education came up in 1954, right?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
had to say, "Oh wow, great, things are going to change in 40
Yeah, they
years." You
said
know,
that every time we got.
yeah,
They said that every time when the Civil Rights Act was passed.
right. Oh,
And
things are going to change
all of yeah,
slowly.
the one thing that did change, but it had less to do with the Civil Rights Act, but it was the Immigration Reform Act, right, of
Yeah,
'65. That
yeah,
definitely contributed to a huge amount of change.
yeah.
Uh, and then Roe versus Wade, not because of the abortion issue, but because it represented the high point, right, of
Hmm.
the women's movement and
Yeah.
and and the success of the partial radicalization of that movement. The
Yeah.
increase of militancy of the
Hmm.
women's movement, which also brought along with it
Yeah.
LGBTQ, you know,
Mm.
movement, the beginning of the movement, as a gay lesbian movement.
Mm.
And so those kind of things brought a lot of change. But that has been completely disrupted
Yeah.
and in many
Oh,
ways reversed in
yeah.
just the last few years.
And that's the thing, man. I just don't know if we know how far back we've gone, and how much how much we've got to flip back. It is so
Well,
crazy,
even
and
even on questions, one of the questions that I ask these folks is
mm,
campaign finance reform. Can we
oh
do
yeah,
that? I said, why it hasn't never gotten off the table. If
yeah,
there was a movement within the lower house, it never got to a vote, of the body as a whole.
yeah,
If it was brought up in the Senate, and it was brought up more often in the Senate than in the lower house, even though well, anyway, and it
yeah,
failed every time.
yeah.
It never
I
even
mean,
got to the floor.
this is the sad thing. I mean, so we leave, we end the week, and we go into this big week, and we still feel a little sad. Hey, listen, Dan. Sorry to end it this way, but we had such a great time celebrating my birthday. We had
We
a
did.
good time.
We did.
And now we're going to celebrate it again on November 19th at the Marsh. People can see Emil Amok live. November 19th at 7:30. All right, Dan. Listen,
All right,
I'll
we
talk
went
to you
long
again.
this time, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So take care. I'll talk to you again soon. There he goes, my
I'll see you
friend.
tomorrow. I'll see you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. Oh, yeah. See you tomorrow. Yeah, we're gonna go do that.
I'll
Do that.
probably watch you from my car because I got horned into driving people around at exactly the
Oh,
same
that's all
time.
right. That's all right. That's all right. No apologies. So we'll see you and talk to you at the Fonz 101. There he goes, Dan Gonzalez, Professor Dan, my friend, and he was talking about not the live March on November 19th. He was talking about the thing I'm doing tomorrow for Fonz, which is, let's see, where's the Fonz thing? Right here, Fonz 101. Fonz 101. And it's tomorrow, the 11th, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Fill out the little form there. Hey, look, that's it for me. I'm gonna go literally. Hey, we like to end with little loving kindness because we're about the love. Really, I mean, so really, this show is about the love. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Mahal